Good morning. Hello. Happy Thursday. Hello, coding is weird. How are you doing today? Welcome to the channel. Or at least welcome to chat. I thought I was running behind, but apparently I'm 1 minute ahead, which is nice. I hear bumps upstairs too, so Zilby's running around back and forth. He was begging me to let him outside so he can go chase something around and probably kill it. So I obviously didn't do that. All right, if I remember correctly, we have a panic in our code to let us know where to go. There it is. We are creating an and query. Okay. Oh, right. Because it is an and query. Somewhere around here. Oh wait, I removed it, didn't it? So it doesn't exist anymore. I think that's part of the delete, right? Yeah, part of the delete many. All right, so we're creating our query. We're booking books. Let somebody. Okay, right. So I'm adding this as a filter, but I really want this to be either an or, if possible, or to do an in, right? So I can do something like. I guess it would be filter, right? So I want a where. So this is a where. And then there was something we can do like a query. Okay, query. Oh, but that's that. It's something else. I wanna where in. Okay, I need to go look this up. Yeah, it's not expressions type stuff to like actually change it. Like this is doing what? Find column as. Yes, this is changing it, right? both of them take C query condition. Oh, okay. So in the filter we do a condition. That's what it is, not a query. So we do condition. Right, okay. So this is where we have add a condition. So I want any of the conditions is true. And then we can do add. Construct the or condition. So any, we do any of these things. Right, so it's just basically we have a all or an any. That's the difference. So I want an all. Oh, so this is actually easier than I thought maybe. So I want to create this condition and add these. So hold on, that's okay. So now I want to add to this condition here. So if I do condition, I want to add, and then the condition will be just that column is equal to, so that's this thing. What's the result of add? Itself. Okay, so this changes the condition itself, right? So then I just do the same thing we did before. We do condition equals that to mutate it. We come down here. We now have a condition with all the things added. So then I add the filter to that one. So I can do query equals query dot filter condition like that. And then we exec it, which I didn't need to combine these two. We can essentially do that. I don't need that equals. We just add on that way. You don't really. I thought I was changing query because I'm not doing like a let again. Okay, so one failed. Assertion at book API book is none, so it was supposed to be is something. No, it's supposed to be is nothing. An API book is something still. but everything else succeeded. All right, let me, for this one, let's create a new tab for this. Where do I want to put database? Oh, you know what? I could put it down here. Pane, open up to the right. Good morning, Stacking. How are you doing today? After falling asleep to O Camel, I feel like I woke up from a fever dream and are looking at normal code again. I haven't looked at O Camel. I don't think I've really seriously looked at O Camel. So I'll take your word for it. But I remember seeing like the comments you left yesterday also on it. It's there's languages. Functional languages I think can be quite different. I've not been too exposed to them though. Okay, so I want to, let's table book authors and table books. Oh, and can I do my select? Yeah, okay, so select star from books where ID is not in there. Hey, look, it worked. So it successfully deleted those. Okay, so if it successfully deleted those and I didn't update or something's going on with like either the get or handling the get. Your brain just can't hand pure functional programming. You've tried and you just can't, but I also have never been good at math. I've not been at a company where like the business needs require a functional language, and it's always better to just use the language that we are using for everything else, so it's more comfortable for everybody else. So that's like the reason why I've never actually gotten into it. Is just I've never been in a situation where it's the tool to pull out, or I have somebody who that like knows that tool extremely well. We'd have to all learn it, and that's not going to work at a company. And my specialty is working with startups, so it's really not going to work there. Yashard, hello. How are you doing today? And user Botan, hello. Good morning. How are you doing today? Okay, so we had we have the failures here. So delete an author, standard out. So reloading the book from the API. Here's the book. We got the 404 and a none. And then we look inside of authors. Author's book still has this in the book. No, this is not authors. This is book, test book, API book. Okay. And we expect this to be none, but it's still the other one. It has no authors in here. Interesting. Okay, so we need to go see where that is. That's authors line 178. Okay, so delete an author. I'm debugging all these. And then if we have test models. Scott, hello. Oh, you're okay. So, yeah, absolutely. No, don't worry about misspelling that. It's spelling that correctly just gets the little highlight, so I see it easier. I saw Museum's reply, which is interesting and fascinating if you know more about Rust because you have a lot of context about it. And I think that's something I go back to and like read some of Museum's responses after you get a little bit more. I am curious though because I don't know if your problem or your concern ever got resolved. What since you're here now, what's your do you still have do you still have like the issue with results and options? Userbot, may I ask a noob thing? Absolutely, all the time. What's the best way when having a LAMP environment using Docker Compose? I don't know how I can write my PHP code and work on the MySQL PHP MyAdmin database thing from VS Code. Does it make sense just learning Docker and PHP this week? Yeah, so there's a way in Docker to make it so your code exists on your system and have a volume in the Docker container that basically just like reads from your disk and mounts it into the container itself. So when you make changes to it and you hit save outside, it changes inside. Does that make sense? And also, is that what you're asking, or is it something else? And am I going off on a tangent? I sometimes, if like either I or like people who are not like understanding the problem will just answer something completely different. You're not sure why, but they are needed in a match function. Why they're needed in a match function other than for error checking? Okay, so I think that's exactly it. It's for error checking. So the reason why I have it, pretty sure I have it here. So if I go to source in my router, not here, book author. Oh no, I don't have it because I'm using map error instead. But I guess this kind of works with it. It's not exactly the same thing. So I have a result coming back from this insert book author here. And it's not the right type of result, right? Like, so the okay in result, the error in result isn't compatible with the result, this result that I'm returning here. So I convert it over, and while I'm doing that, I just have a little side effect where I error log it out to the screen, and then return that out. So it's really more of Rust doesn't have the ability to sort of like throw an error the same way that many other languages do. Instead, what we do is we have to explicitly return the errors as an actual like value that's being returned out. So in a way, it's more of us saying, hey, this function cannot err. If something goes wrong, the entire code is crashing. Does that make sense? Also, does that answer? I'm perfectly happy to dive as deep as we need to help out because I'm sure multiple people have these questions. Okay, so to the Docker thing. You know, if you wanted to access the assigned Docker network you set up in Docker Compose, right now you can't when opening Firefox and go to the phpMyAdmin panel. You don't know if it's possible. What in, oh, absolutely. Glad to help out. Do you have the ports exposed? So what you would do is you'd expose the ports for that container, that project in your Docker Compose file, which I don't think I have a Compose file in here. I do have a Compose file in here. So here we say, okay, database. I don't have this in a network, so it's not its own network thing, but you can imagine everything gets a default network. So it has its own network in here. I've exposed these ports and I've connected to it using PSQL over here on my own system. So I'm not actually connected into the Docker container. So I think I'm doing what you want to do. I am connecting to this using localhost port 5432 because I've exposed this, and as far as my computer is running, it's on localhost. And so if I had multiple Postgres containers up and running at the same exact time, I would have to, on the host side of this, change the port. So this could be like, 8000, 8001, 8002 if I wanted multiple of them at the same time. So if the code doesn't know which way to crash, i.e. doesn't have an error code, it will crash the entire program. It's more of you as the programmer are attempting to communicate / like tell the code how to work, right? So if I remember correctly, the example you gave was like a couple pretty simple programs, right? Like, okay, I want to create a string, or I want to append to a string, or I want to add numbers together. You could imagine that you'll never, ever, ever have a program that crashes, right? If you add numbers together. Let's actually do this. I think I want actually a real REST analyzer helping me out here. Tab new. Okay, let's go to playground. Let's do a cargo new. Let's call this plane with result, like crashing, I guess. Like Y results or something like that. I don't want to call it that. Okay, whatever. So I'm gonna go to main. We have function main. Okay, so if I have, let's do this down here. I have a function and we do like add. And I say I want you to be a number. So let's say you take in a number like 1, which is, let's do small numbers, right? U8 and 2, which is a U8. And I'm going to return a U8 out. So because I'm not using a result, I am telling the programmer that uses this, which is me because I'm the programmer writing this, I am telling myself that this function cannot fail. However, we all know that we live in an imperfect world. If there's still a chance that this fails, right? Like, everything can fail. What what would happen if I added in like stuff that just wasn't allowed? Like these are U8s here. A U8 is 0 through 255. So what if I add something else? I don't know. So let's just do 1 plus 2. And I want to do a debug. I guess I'll let it, right? So like let result. We'll do add 1 and 2. So this should be pretty normal, right? So we'll do cargo run. We get result 3. Got it. All right, back to Scott. If the code doesn't know which way to back to user button. So exposing the port and just using localhost with the exposed port would work, but you think it will confuse you quickly using only localhost. That's why I wanted to use the IP from the assigned network. Well, so the problem is that IP from the assigned network is inside of that network only. So we have to jump into network theory and how network administration works and how routing works. So Sylvia's not here. Sorry, Scott. I'm going to go on this tangent for a little bit. We got 2 conversations going on at the same time, so it's lots of fun. Let's see if I can do this and if it's okay or not. Let's turn on Zilbicam. Oh, that's really far away, isn't it? That's not going to work. And this cable is too... That's as close as I can get. Okay, never mind. I was going to use Zilbicam to look at the whiteboard that I have next to me, but I think I need a better place to put the camera so it can be like at the level and like a little bit closer to it. So I will use this whiteboard instead. All right, so we have this network right here, right? So if we have a Docker network, let's say we have 2 Docker networks. We have some containers. That are in this Docker network and in this Docker network. Okay, great so far. But all of this is inside of our system. Which is our host machine network. Local host and so on. I want to send it back. So the problem here is that we're in our host machine. When you want to get into here, there's no router to get to. So the problem is there's no route table. I can't like send a HTTP message and have it route inside of here. We would, in order to get that to work, we would need to set up a actual routing table and router. It's possible, like absolutely possible that you can set that up. It would take a fairly long time for me to explain how to do that because I'd need to first remember how to do that. And it's been a long time. I actually have... it's been a long time now. It's far expired, but I started my career in technology by getting a CCNA, a Cisco certification, CC Network Associate. And I learned all about like how to do this type of stuff and get it working. And same for you. So the problem is that there's no routing table. There's no like that. Or okay, I shouldn't say there's no routing table. There is a routing table. It is not set up. Oh, you have the P. Okay, I never got the professional one. I just did CCNA, and then went straight into systems administration and never used it, which is like par for the course, right? So we're here in localhost. We have these private networks that have no routes to them. To get to them, you would absolutely need to have some kind of routing table with some kind of discovery and some way to get inside of them. And our routing table that we have on localhost isn't aware of these at all, in any way. Doing the subnet bit masking by hand still gives. Oh yeah, I know. I remember doing that. It could be fun to try. Absolutely, you can install Zebra on your system, and you can get that working and go with it. I'm sure there's a better tool than Zebra these days, but that's what I used back in the day. So, instead, Docker will just allow you to. What symbol do I want to use? Let's do this one. It's a weird symbol to use, but whatever. This symbol is punching a hole out, and now, like, perhaps this is probably a better way to put it, is that you now have a hole in this subnet through ports exposed. You can connect in here, and then from there it gets over there. You can do that. And it's a lot easier. And like, just what I would recommend is just do the normal one. I'm right there with you, Stacking. I also had, when I took the test, had to do all of that by hand. They gave me a single sheet of paper before the test and allowed me to write out, I think, on both sides. And I remember I wrote out the bit masking table through like 4 digits or maybe 5 digits in order to help out in a test. And I didn't get like, 100%. I got like a decent score. I just don't remember what it was anymore. But I passed my first try. Anshul, hello. I'm doing okay. How are you doing? So anyways, end result is I don't recommend it. I don't recommend doing that entire thing. If you want to really do this type of thing, I don't know, having like Docker in your system is really what you want to do. At that point in time, it might be better to just like get a bunch of like Raspberry Pis or small computers and just set that up on your own system, or like VMs, like set up VMs with that and just go from there. But it goes down to the point of like, what's the purpose? Is there actual like reason to not have the ports exposed? Or is it just a fun challenge? How do I find time and energy to do work and then do streaming and side projects? You're struggling to have the mental energy to pursue studying. That's an excellent question. And so I've not read the book, ironically, but I don't know if ironic is the right one, but I've not read the book, but there is a book called Deep Work. One of my colleagues read the book and sort of told me about it, and everything that I do is based upon that. So there's a reason why I do my streaming before work, is that I'm my strongest before work. So that's when I do it. So my streaming and side projects are all together at the same time. Like I barely work on them outside of stream. So that's how I do it. I do my mental energy when I'm at the strongest, which is here. Maybe you should study before the day job starts. Give it a shot. See how it goes. Just trying to set all my stupid ideas while learning it. Absolutely, yeah. So if it's just a learning thing and you just want to try it, it's an excellent like thing to try out. For me, it's like it's not the way I want to spend my time. But if you have time for it, it doesn't mean it's a bad idea to play with. It just means that it's not a good idea for me right now because I have other goals. But as long as it doesn't become a bike shed thing for you, with the bike shed, if you're not familiar with the analogy, a bike shedding is when you start concentrating on something that's interesting but has no relevance to what your actual goals are. So the story goes, it's a thought experiment. It didn't actually happen as far as I know, but it certainly could, is that a company is building a nuclear power plant. And there's a lot of really important decisions that need to be made. Like, how many cores to put in and all that stuff. I don't really know anything about nuclear power plants. And one of the decisions that need to be made is where to put and what color to paint the bike shed that the employees can use to ride their bikes in to work each day. And this problem comes up. The directors who are like building and like making all the decisions all start piping and yelling at us because this is a safe decision. This is something that's fun, that's interesting to work on, and will have no ramifications to what you're really doing, and therefore is mentally and nice and safe. So therefore, they spend all day arguing about that instead of arguing about things like, what's the core temperature? What should we set as the alert for the core temperature for when we evacuate the place? You like to shave your yaks and said, if you have the yaks to shave them, I'm certainly need to be shaved. Like that can't possibly be equivalent to bike shedding, right? That sounds important. All right. So I think we're done chatting about that. Let's get back to this. So, all right, back to results and why I like them, and I think they're important here. Is we have ad for this type of thing. Oh, and why it's not. And see, what was your last comment? It was, so if the code doesn't know which way to go, which way to crash, it doesn't have an error code, it'll crash the entire program. So I think the answer is yes, right? So if I were to do something like, hey, let's take 1, and this is adding 2, right? So I'm just gonna do, I'm gonna add in -3, which if I now, your stupid Rust analyzer is actually gonna, the compiler is gonna, the compiler is too smart for that. Okay, 255. I'm gonna add 1 to 255. There we go. So the compiler is perfectly happy with this. It's like, hey, this is gonna work, right? But at runtime, when I attempt to run this, I'm already at the max for a U8 here. I'm not checking this. And so I run 1 + 2, and that causes a panic here. So thread main panic, an attempt to add with overflow. So I go over the value of U8. So that causes that to your point, it crashes the entire system. So what's a way that we can handle this? Well, I could just check to see, okay, if 2 is, let's see, what's a way for me to determine, how do I know like if these are going to be bigger without actually like running the thing? Because I can't actually do the add. Oh, can I do a triad? So can I do one.triad? Oh, triad would be nice. There's an unchecked add. Interesting. I think I could also subtract. I could subtract them from that. Ooh, this is like surprisingly hard for me to think about how to deal with this. Chromo Sundrift, hello. Okay, there's U8 You mean unchecked ad instead of checked ad? Or oh, wait. There's a okay, hold on. So that does the thing. Add a sign. Checked ad. Okay, here it is. And here's the reason why we have an option here. So checked ad, checked integer addition, compute self plus random returning none if overflow occur. There we go. Okay, so I want that plus 2. And I want this to be an option. And so actually I can convert this into a result. So you get okay with that. Otherwise, we'll just do a static stir for the error. So here, I now get a result and I want to match this, right? Because as your point, we really just want to handle this, right? We're using the power of Rust to tell us, hey, this could fail. Force me to handle this. I want to match up here. So if you're okay, give me the result. I'll return the result. If you're an error, the error. And I will debug. Actually, I won't debug. I'll ePrintline. And I'll say, I'll probably do 2 things, right? So here we'll say ePrintline couldn't add the numbers because, and then we'll throw in that error. Right? So we have that. And then this result, I actually want you to be a multiple. Line 2. Where here, I'm actually going to put in my debug result. Here. So that way, I'm only doing this at this point. So I'm not returning anything anymore. Oh, I don't need this result. Now I need to convert this. This is an option, so it's really going to be okay or else. So it's going to be a function which is the error. So okay or else, and I want the error is just going to be there was an overflow. So there was an overflow. I think that'll work. So if I run you again, expected semicolon. Where was that? Oh, I don't need a return result. Oh, and I want to. What are you returning? Oh, use OK or instead of OK or else. So we're happy here. There we go. So now I get a nice handled here, so it doesn't crash the program unintentionally. Because otherwise it absolutely crashes the program. Okay, let's see. What did I miss? So I guess, first of all, before I continue on, Scott, does that answer your question? Is there anything more we can go over with this? I'm happy to. Let's see. Chrome with Sundrift. You're guessing there's a Rust LSP thing and you're using cockvim plugin here. As Stacking mentioned, this is Helix. Helix comes with Rust sort of like understood already. All I had to do was I installed Rust Analyzer from Homebrew on a Mac and keep it up to date there. Ironically, when I was using Rust Analyzer from Rust itself, it was causing problems. Okay, so it absolutely does, Scott. You need to work with the result option more. Break and try again. Yeah. Basically, it's a this is the Rust version of throwing, right? It's we don't like throw directly out of a function. It's all part of the return value. Which takes a little bit to get used to. Like an either type. I guess so. Is either type part of another language? I'm not familiar with that. I'm familiar with like options exist in multiple languages. Okay, that's the Haskell equivalent. All right. Yeah, in that case, yeah. Either type is the equivalent of an option, I believe. Oh, it's an error or a thing? Okay, so that's a result. So we have, in Rust, we have options and we have results. An option would be the equivalent that, an option is the equivalent of it's either something or nothing. So that's the replacement for a null. And a result is then the replacement for an either. So it's either okay. The result is either okay or the result is an error. But it's a generic, which means that you can pass whatever data you want in. You can abuse the system and have both arms of the result be something that's okay and good. Okay, and options in Haskell are maybe. That makes sense. Maybe in either. And then option or result. I don't necessarily have like any belief that like one way of naming that is better than the other. As long like it's a way to handle it, and it's pretty awesome. My thought recently has been that Rust forces developers to use some functional paradigms like the option and the results without forcing any functional down your throat. Rust does take many things from functional programming. They pretty much took OCaml and made it not a pure functional language, which I don't know OCaml, so I don't know if I can like 100% agree with it, but it sounds right. So I will agree with it on that. These are just the details. Maybe the best way to handle. Oh, types are the best way to handle Nora failure. Yeah, maybe. I think it depends, right, on the situation. Museum answered the either and maybe question is post on Bunnyville. Okay, nice. Yeah, so maybe you can go back and that will make more sense now. I mean, the names may be different, but you're not stuck on the lingo. Right. The entire purpose, like the point of it all, is the same. Okay, so I'm attempting to reload the book from the API. I'm getting response object book from here. And then reloading from book, right? So if we look at this, reloading book from the API, book is response object, data none, error none. Okay, we move right. So I'm using Zellage, so I've zoomed in on these two panes, so I can still move back and forth when I'm zoomed in. There's a big lag. Oh, okay. No problem whatsoever. I think I have the lag thing turned off, but it's I know it can be. I wish there's a way for me to see the lag next to like the username to see like, oh, you've got like a 10-second lag, or you have like a 30-second lag, and you have like a 2-second lag. It might be helpful for me because then I can say like, oh, I don't remember what was happening 10 seconds ago. Yeah, give me context with every single statement. Okay. So I reloaded a book from the API, and that's empty. I have this book here. Wait. Did I just not do anything with this? Oh, I'm using, okay, so I don't have it after I'll just do that. There we go. That was the entire problem. The entire time was that I wasn't assigning the book back in and taking over. So I have this type in test book, the API book, which is an option. So it might be a book or it might not. After I delete the book, I want to reload it from the API. I do that. And then I forgot to like say, hey, we got a new one here. Let's go ahead and assign it in. Okay, so we're good to go. All right, so that means deleting testing authors. Okay, so that's this. This is now working the way we expect it to. So we assert that the book API book. Okay, so these are all the author tests are done now. Let's fix all our warnings. Okay, so those are all those warnings, and then I want to find all of the debugs. I can do global search. I want to find global search. Oh, okay, that's what I have to do. Okay, so I think is that the only one then? Okay, none found. And then I want all of the maybe debug query statements. So what is it? Tracing debug. Okay. How can there be no matches found for tracing? I'm using tracing here. Like, okay, so I'm doing in Helix here, I'm trying to do / for global search and workspace folder, which is where I am right now, right? So global search, I want tracing. So I want to find anything that has like that, right? That should work. No matches found. If I just do a normal search, yeah, that finds it. Hold on, do I have to do something like this? Tracing star? Do I... Apparently I have no idea how to use global search. Okay, let's try to find server. Okay. Oh, that found it. Huh. Is it because of the colon immediately after it? So if I do a global search for tracing, oh, maybe I do like colon? No. Oh, is it because there's a bang here? Tracing. No matches found even for that. Oh, weird. Is this a bug or am I just really using it wrong? This feels like I'm using it right. It works for when I do okay, but not when I do tracing. Interesting. I was really hoping. Okay, can I find debug? Star debug? What's a regex thing? It's not looking for that. Okay, so search for regex pattern. Use current selection as search pattern. So register slash set to well, heck, that works when I do that. When I do a local search on this file, it works. When I do a global search across the entire thing, that doesn't work. Interesting. Okay, I guess. Wait a second. What's my current directory? Oh, I was in DB somehow? Oh, I was in the wrong place. That's the reason why. Okay. That's the reason why. I was in the wrong directory. Okay. So I want tracing debug. Okay, so here's all my tracing uses. So I want tracing debug, but that didn't work. How do I get? Okay, so why does something like this work when I do oh, there's a search from here, right? Yank main selection to clipboard. Nope, that didn't work. Okay, so what if I do search for debug? All right, find all the derives. Oh, okay. I guess I don't have any tracing debugs. Maybe that's it. Okay. Well then I'm good. Privan, hello. How are you doing today? Good. You're writing Leptos. Nice. How are you enjoying Leptos? I've heard really good things about it. I just haven't had time to look at it. Epic, hello. You've never actually used Axum. Can I give a quick major differences between Axum and Rocket? It's been a long time since I've used Rocket, so I might be wrong here. Rocket is from what I remember, Rocket is a batteries included backend framework that basically just handles all the stuff for you and does all the cool stuff that you want. Axum is closer to an Express type thing. So if you're used to Node.js, like Express on the back end. So it's a very, very bare bones, you write a bunch of stuff for it, and it handles like the important stuff, like routing and everything else, but you still have to do a bunch of stuff yourself. So that's what I would give, like a very, very quick difference between Axum and Rocket. Also, Axum is written by the people behind Tokyo. Rocket is written by a single person who sometimes isn't available for long periods of time to merge pull requests in. You love it, Leptos, and rendering on server with Actix RS is great. Oh, nice. Okay. So you got server-side rendering, you got all the fun stuff. Yeah, I've heard good things. You just know Axum tortures the trait resolver. That is true. That is true. Doesn't Rocket do that too? Because they're both macro heavy though, right? Uh-oh. Hold on, I can. It's a Piver dev. Okay. Okay, you're building a Google Analytics clone. Cool. Nice. I'll try to take a look at that later after stream. Oh, it's your blog. Okay, cool. I'll throw that onto Discord in the main general. So just so I don't remember it. Link from River. Okay. I'll use that as my reminder to look at it later. I love the colon W. It's like, okay, I do that all the time. It's like, okay, I send my CLI term, like, you know, my editor commands to other windows. Hey, it's better to do that than a password. It does happen. Sometimes I do that when I even know I'm in there. I'm like, oh, I can go into like escape mode and start doing other stuff. It's like, no. Not everything is Vim-like. Nightbot being bigoted towards links. I know. It's my fault too, because I told Nightbot to be bigoted towards links. At least bigoted towards links that I don't know about. All right, what do? I guess these are testing that links that, authors can be deleted. Okay, so I have that, which means I believe all of the authors tests are good now, which means we can move on to books tests. So here you are with these. All right, well, this is fairly simple. To create a book, we're going to do let book yes. No, you're pasting passwords in chat is very open-minded and social. It's a very sharing thing. I remember when I was working as a sysadmin, we're all sort of like in chats together, and it's like, okay, we're doing this, and then we see a password come in, and we're like, oh, this was in a shared chat, and security's in this chat. Okay. All right, we're all heading up to go get the new passwords. They're being rotated. Okay. Oh, I have to mod it. That's why. I have to mod models. Models? I think that's what it is. I have to mod it first, and then I can find it. All right. And then I have create book. It's not right. Oh, I think it's like a new random, right? Whoa, what did I do? New random. There we go. Okay, so create that. I want you to be mutable. So then I can do book dot save. Create an API. So actually create it. And then I want to make sure that the book is what I expect, at least that I have one, right? So assert that book dot API book is some. I don't really know what it would go into it. I guess I could do is some and, but oh yeah, we have to await question mark you. There we go. Bull first ad, hello. How are you doing today? Back from work, nice. Very nice. Means like you have a couple hours before the end of the day, right? All right, testing. We'll rerun your tests, and you should be all happy. Was there a bunch of warnings in here? No, it's just the ignored. Okay, so you're happy. Oh no, that sucks. I'm sorry. But I'm sorry both for like not being able to be picked up, and then also having to like sell a car for rent is not a good position to be in. I'm sorry to hear on behalf of your friend too. All right, so we are testing that we can create a book. We already knew we could because we have to do it as part of authors. All right, associate a book with an author. So I have to create a book first. So now I'm already doing this, right? It's like test authors. Yeah, associate author with a book. And I'm already testing that I can create a book as part of those. So do I really need to do these? I don't actually think that it's a good idea to have like duplicated tests with these. So like, okay, I'm already testing that I can. So I don't need to do that. Associate book with author, which is exactly the same as associating with an author with a book. So I'm okay there. Get one book with authors. I don't know if I'm testing that. There should be a book already in there with an ID of something. So if let's do select star from book authors, we can join in books on books.id is equal to book author. authors dot book ID. I also want to join in authors. Authors.id is equal to okay. I guess if I just do that. So here's all the books that have authors, have at least one author. So free, any of these, like any of the author names that have like a kind of human readable name are not the test ones, because I'm using I'm using basically just creating an alpha random from rand to create the names. They're like not real. So author ID 2, so book ID 1 has a single author. The author's name is Freebook. No, the author's name is one book. And the book's name is Freebook. Hopefully the price isn't in dollars. I mean, it could be. I think the price, I mean, it doesn't really matter. It's in some kind of full number. So it could either be dollars or it could be pennies. Okay, so let's get, I should okay. I should do, give me from this. I can't do it all together, right? So I have to do, let's see, author ID is fine. Book ID is fine. I don't need ID then. I don't care about that. I want, we have two names. So we have authors dot name as author name, books dot name as book name. Sure, we can get price, in stock. There we go. A little bit easier. So book ID is 1. So let's grab book ID 1 here. Okay, so we're going to do let our book equals, we'll have our test book. I want to get, or new from DB or API. And then I want to pass in like the 1. So that the 1 is going to be this, the book ID. Which this doesn't exist yet. So let's go create that. Okay, new from, maybe like new from API. We can do that. We'll take in a book ID, which is an I32. I want to create the URL. Okay, so we'll get our start from our base URL slash books slash book ID. Let's see. How much for this book? 10,000 pennies. Yeah, absolutely. And in this economy, you're only allowed to pay in pennies. Everyone else is now completely poor. Only people that have pennies. What does the function do? It gives a book, but you pass it a book ID. Yeah, it's gonna actually hit the API, load up a book from that, and then fill out the test book from that. So that's how this test book. Basically, I'm not mocking a book anymore. I'm now actually gonna get one from the API, which is really from the database. So it's an integration test. All right, so if I get the URL, so then I want the actual book to come back. So this is not really a book, it's a result. Equals, I want to do a request. Do a get to the URL. We await. Now, I could have you return a result. With a self on it. So wait, question mark you. Okay, so wait, that gives me a Boolean? What? So we get, oh. That's why. All right, so await that. That gives me a response. So let's do that. Let's get the status. This should be a 200. I want to pull out you as an heir. Oh, how did I get that result? Okay, so why are you still upset? Oh, because I have to return it. Okay. After, let's just do it to do. And you have to be async. Okay, so now you're happy again. Okay, so we get a 200. Then I guess I can't really do anything until I actually finish writing this. So we expect this to be a 200. It's probably going to be a 404 or 204 or 40423 or whatever to begin with. So next thing is, if it passes that, we get a 200 status back. I want it to be a response object. So that all right, so we're gonna do status dot. I want to get the JSON, not status. I want the response. I'm gonna get the JSON. It's gonna be a response object with a book inside, and we'll await you and question mark you. Okay, so that gives me a response object. Inside the response object, I have data, which includes the book. And that now we can actually create the thing. So, all right. So start with API book. You're going to be something, which is going to be the response object dot data, which is an option in the book. Name is response object. Okay, so I should probably check to see that there's something in here too. So that's actually, we'll just get the book out. I want to convert this into an error, don't I? So we'll do, so you can actually just be the book here. So I question mark that, and then I want to go into data. That's an option. So I want to do an okay or else. And if you're not happy, we're just going to bail and say book doesn't exist when oh right, it's not bail, it's error, I think. I want to use the error macro. Okay, so that gives me, I returned the error macro from this. That's fine. So now I have the book. So you will be a sum book, and let's clone you. All right, name. You're going to be book dot name here. We can take ownership of you. Price dot price. And in stock. In stock. All right. You are all options? So expected. Oh, everything is an option. Cool. I mean, I could also just unwrap. Oh, I should probably do expects. I mean, I'm pretty sure if I have a book, they're going to be in there. Okay, so I have you. Then if I unwrap and a crash, it'll give me the line numbers. That's all I really care about. All right, so new book equals new from API, hand it 1. We await you. Question mark you. Okay, so that gives me a test book here. And really, if I get the test book at this point, that's all I really care about. Is I just want to get that. So I could just do that. Is that a warning? That is a warning. I have a bunch of warnings. Cool. Multiple associated items are never used. So wait, new item is never used? New random is never used? Are you sure? Literally used right there. Oh, is it because, so it doesn't think it's used because it's in the mod test? So it's basically, it's not used by the real code, only in test code. That only gets compiled into the binary if I'm running the test. Therefore, it's considered not used. I don't like that. Because I don't want to turn on OK for dead code for it, because what if I actually do stop using it in the other test? I want it to then tell me. I don't like that. Okay, so that does that. We're getting one book with the authors. So we're testing getting one book. Oh, wait. We're not done with this. This is one book with the authors. So I want to see that this book has authors in it. So book dot on my API book. Let's unwrap authors. Okay. So authors is a vec of author. So it's an option. So I want to unwrap you. And then I want your length to be greater. So I want to be assert. I want you to be not this. So I want you to be not empty for the author. And then we actually know what the author, right? So I want you not to be empty. I'm going to assert. I think this one we could do assert equal. Oh, hey, Zilby. Oh, hey, you're really close to the camera. Follow 39. Hello. Welcome. Awesome. I'm glad that the Axum course is helpful. It's I'm hoping that not too much has changed. Oh, of course. Right after I set that up, Zilby is like, nope, I'm done. Yeah. So hopefully, I'm glad it's helpful. And I know that there's some things that have changed in Axum since I created it, because I created it at 0.5, and then like 3/4 of the way through 0.6 came out. That was fun. But yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to ask away. Happy to answer them. All right, so I want. So actually, I don't need that assert. You know what? Let's put this one. So let's do API book unwrap authors unwrap. I don't need is empty. What I probably want to do is something like let there's a single author, right? So authors unwrap will get first, unwrap. And we'll clone you out. So that should give me the first author in here, which if we look, this is book ID 1. Book ID 1 has author ID 2, and the author name is one book. That's what I can check here, is that your name is one book. Okay, we want to check to see that your name is one book. And so if I run you as a test, oh, that works. Then yay. Okay, so get one book with the authors. All right, for some reason I thought we didn't have that set up, but apparently when you're getting that, you do get the author. Okay, next up, get all books with their authors. Okay, so with this one, I think I want to do the get here. So okay, so I'm going to go to that, get all the, I guess it'll be the response. So go to that. We'll await and question mark you. Okay, so we get the request response. I want to make sure that it's a 200 okay. Okay, so I want you to be that. Then I want to create a bunch of test books from this. And then I want to at least like we could find one of the books and make sure that they have authors. And that should be fine. There should be a minimum of 3 books in there at any one time. Okay, so how do I want to do this? I want it to, I guess this is going to create we'll just do this one at a time. We'll build it out. So our books equal to, so we'll get JSON. We'll have our response object with a book inside. We'll wait, we'll question mark you, we'll get data, and we'll unwrap you. But no, it's really, you're going to be a Vecca book, aren't you? Okay, so now I have a vec of books. I want to, inside of this vector of books, I want to find oh, I don't have a book with multiple authors. So I just have to find like book with ID 1. Oh, hey, welcome back. I mean, I caught the tail end of it. Oh, hey. All right, so I guess we'll loop through until we find book ID 1. It doesn't really matter, does it? And then we can exit out at that point in time. So might as well just do a for loop. So for book in, and I might as well take ownership of this. That doesn't really matter. So books. So I get a book. I want to wait until, okay, so if book dot ID is not equal to 1, let's continue. So first of all, I do want to assert that we have a certain number of these, don't we? So we want to assert that books.length is greater than 3. If it's like the first test you run, it's just going to be the seeded ones. That's the 3 that we added in. So it should have at least those. Then I'm going to look through here and I want to find the book with ID 1. Which I suppose we could just use find, can't we? Hold on. We could just use that. That book 1. It's like one book. Don't. Let's not take ownership of it here. Okay, give me book with ID 1. That gives me an option books. So I want to unwrap you. If you can't find it, that will crash. Okay, so book equals that. Then I want to assert that, I guess we can get the author. Authors equals book dot authors dot unwrap. And I want to assert that there's at least one of these. So I can just get first. Okay. So that gives me there, and then I can assert now. Okay, this can be assert equal now. That authors, so author.name is equal to, is it one book again? I think it's one book. All right. What are you upset about? Because you're a sum. Book ID. Wait. Can we use the new feature? Can I finally use the new feature? We're going to use unwrap. No, is it unwrap? It's okay. Hold on. Is some and that returns a boolean. Nice. Okay. So one is some and. So the ID is some and the ID is equal to 1. There we go. Finally get to use is some and in an appropriate way. All right, what are you now all upset about? Okay, so I have a reference to a book. So I don't want to move out a book. Okay, so books, authors, unwrap. We'll get an as ref, so we don't really unwrap it. Okay. There we go. Okay, now we're getting some errors. We're getting a 405. Is the 405 not 405 is the what's 405? Let's find out. Method not allowed. Okay, so this is now we're not implementing this. So let's go implement it. So in source routes book. So I have create book, get one book. So we're gonna have get all books. Okay, so then we should get past the 405, and now we get a left doesn't equal right, right? Error decoding response body end of file. Okay, yeah. So now it's failing at a JSON. It's failing here. So I'm not returning a response object with a vector of books. So let's solve this problem. So I want to go to book queries. I want to go get all. Okay, we could do this all in one go. So we'll do, okay, I want to then get a entity books entity find. That's going to find everything. I want to do, it's like find with related. I want to find it with the authors, right? So entity authors entity. Okay, so find it with the related entities. Give me all. Pass the DB. Gonna wait. Question mark U. That will give me, I believe, a vector of the things, a vector of the data, vector of models. So then I want to map you. We can turn you into an iterator. Want to map you. This is a DB book, essentially. Oh, but it's not. This is a tuple with the DB book and a DB authors. Okay, so then I want to take you. I want to throw the authors into there. Oh, wait. I can do an into on this, can't I? Like we set that up. Whoa, don't do that. Where am I? Into the appropriate book from that. Then we collect you together, and we're okay. I mean, it's not yelling at me, so I must have done it right. What's the chance this will work first try? All right, we'll do impl into response for you, and for the error, we have to do a tuple with the status code and a response object with an empty response. Okay, so if you're good to go, so I guess we'll do this in multiple steps. Let's grab if I move the camera over here, you can kind of see him a little bit better. Kind of. Oh, the cable wants to pull it. I have ZilbyCam as high as it can go right now, which is not high enough to see his face. All right, so let's get the books is going to be, we're going to do the book queries. We'll get all, pass it a reference to state.db. We'll await you, and we'll map the error. Okay, so we get the error out of there, and then I want to turn a tuple with a status code internal server error and the response object new internal error with the message what's going to be the message? The message is going to be error getting all books. Okay. There we go. I got all the books. What are you upset about? Isn't that when I'm supposed to return? Oh, I did this again. Want you to be there like that, which means you need to be JSON like that. Is that one too many? That might be one too many. No, it's not one too many. Okay, and then you're the air that's coming out. Coffee drinker, hello. How are you doing today? Okay, SAS code JSON for with response object. Oh, I'm not okay. It's just because I'm not returning something like that. That's all. That is all. Okay, so I get these books. Then I want to return. I want to turn okay. We have the SAS is going to be, so I just want to do JSON with the books. And that should be fine. Your working day is almost over. Then you can work on your own projects. Nice. Always nice to be able to like just be done with a work day. And you have your own time again. Okay. Get all books with their authors. Error decoding response body, invalid type map. Expected a U16 at line 1, column 1. So this is in test books. Line 31. Okay, so I'm attempting to get out response object of a vec of book, which is what I'm sending, right? Oh, it's tough for me to print this out before I get it here. Invalid type map. Expected a U16. Does that type? My neighbor's making weird noises, so Zilby's a little bit concerned. All right, we're gonna go to models, books. Yeah, there's no U16 here. I don't have a U16, which means, what's that? Expecting U16. Which means it wasn't sent out as JSON? Wait. I didn't respond. Oh no. Okay, hold on. I just sent this out as a response as JSON books. I need to respond. Okay. As a response object. New okay with some books. There we go. Now it's okay. Tests are passing. And the rest of these are all in tests and until never used. Yeah, that's fine. Those are fine. Okay. All right, we're testing that we can get all books. With their authors. Okay, so there's that. Next up, update a book. So first off, I want to create the book, right? So we're going to do let create a new random book. We're going to create the book in the API. Then I want to change the book. So we'll do something like book.name. And then we'll just set you to be just something different. So maybe let's do like let. I want the new name to be okay, alphanumeric. I don't want append string. Oh, there's a way to do it. Sample string. That's what it is. Okay, sample string. I hand it mutable reference to RNG. And I want this to be, I don't know, we'll do a complete different 8-character name. So I want you to be new name. I'll clone you in. And then I want to save you. So okay, so we're gonna update an API. I think we just do a self. All right, so we're gonna go to books and then the ID of the book. Do we have a self ID? Oh, it's gonna be the, okay. Okay, so we get the ID of the book. That lets us get to create the URL for this. I need the client. I'm gonna do a put, and I want to. I've made the update here, so I want to. I'm gonna change. Okay, so I want to send. So URL. I'm gonna add JSON. So I'm gonna give a reference to self for this. We then send. Oh wait, question mark you. Flint Rusty, hello. I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing? All right, let's see if that's going to be a no content. Okay, so that updates an API. So I update the name. I'm going to do book dot update an API. We'll await and question mark you. Give it a little bit of space. All right, so we do. I update the name. I send it to the API to update, and then I want to book dot reload from the API. Like that. Oh no! Today you found out your coworker makes more than you. On paper, they have more experience than you, but he does the same job and he makes around 35% more. That sucks. I'm sorry about that. That's something that bothers me a lot when that happens. And it's one of the things that I fight for as a manager is trying to equalize all pay. And one of the best ways to do that is to publicly announce the salaries. It's like that's one of the ways to force that to happen. Now, where I am living, it's become law. So whenever you hire somebody, whenever you put any kind of like job market thing out, you have to put the range of the salary that's going to come in. So you can sit there and say like, ooh, they're willing to pay 35% more for this role coming in. And you also have to announce it to all internal members. So that way it goes in there. But that's not all the states in the United States don't do that. It's only a few of them that do. I think Colorado, New York, and California, I think. Maybe some of the other ones. I'm not sure. So, well, it depends. Like some companies absolutely have to by law, and if you don't, you can report them privately, and they'll get into trouble. So market is bad. You don't want to quit. So you're in a tough situation right now. If I guess like at that point, what you could do is you could do a quiet search for that. If you don't think you're going to get a raise, and especially if you think that it's going to hurt you if you ask for a raise, or if it's risky to ask for a raise because maybe things aren't really great, then I would probably do a quiet search. Like that's what I call it, like when you're doing like a stealth search. where, if you have some recruiters that you're interested in, you can just like send them a quick message, go, have lunch with them, tell them that you're on the down low, that you're looking for a new thing. No. Here's the thing. The entire quiet the quitting thing is a bullshit thing. Do not care about that. Right now, many companies have here's the thing. This company doesn't care about you because they put you in this situation. If they cared about you, they would have given you a 35% raise the second they hired this other person. So if they're not going to get you a raise because they're not treating you right, then is it really a bad thing to find a company that will treat you right? And if you can't treat you right, then maybe treat you right now will be fine, right? Is like, okay, well, I guess you're going to go look for a raise. If your company's not going to give you a raise, go find a raise. Yeah, Stacking's right. In many companies, they don't expect you to stay very often, and so they kind of like push you out the door. Like, consider this. They may not believe this, but they're absolutely pushing you out the door because they're basically saying, we don't value you after X number of years. And the problem, yes, is the short answer. It's a little bit more complex than that. The way to get a promotion oftentimes is now to jump ship these days. And that's because most companies aren't thinking long term. Or rather, most companies okay. Let me back up a little more. These things actually get surprisingly complex. So most companies treat IT, so our position, software dev, as a cost center. And for those of you who know any kind of business terminology, you know exactly what I mean when I say that. A cost center is something that a business has to pay money for, but doesn't provide any value. Is like for example, the emails that you have, like an email server is a cost center type thing. You have to have email, but it itself isn't directly providing you value. It allows somebody else to provide you value. We know, like, we're building the actual products. We're not a cost center. We know that. But we're being treated like it was because 20 years ago, 30 years ago, that was absolutely true. Software was not there. Like, the product wasn't software. It was something else. Software was something to help the sales team, help something else, help customer success. So a lot of upper management, a lot of businesses treat us as a cost center, and because of that, they don't feel that it's necessary to treat us right. They'll see what they can do to get away with. I actually have worked under a CEO who tried to not pay as much money, like get the best bang for your buck for every employee they hired. Because if you paid $1 an hour more than you absolutely had to, you're losing. That's a terrible deal. And that's the kind of thing that you're treating your employees as numbers and not people. And that's not cool. That's not good. You're not going to get good value out of people if you don't treat them as people. Yeah, so the cost center thing is a cost center is something you have to pay for they don't need, that you need but doesn't provide value. I wish that I had a book on this, but I don't have a good book suggestion for like learning that type of thing. Maybe like the Big Book of Business has like a bunch of terms and words, and like basically it's like a thesaurus for business. Actually, I'm curious. Let me look up cost center. Joey FPS, hello. We're doing well. We're macro wise, we're building assessment for a new course that I'm building on Axum in Rust, and it's working out pretty well so far. We're getting close to being able to refactor everything to make it better, or I guess rewrite everything to make it better. In the meantime, we're talking about just business and cost centers and companies not treating us right because they don't trust or understand software. Awesome. Was the did it help? I hope that recommendations helped. This is not really helpful. Cost center, maybe Wikipedia will have it. No, cost center business. Okay, a cost center, can I make this bigger? Can make this bigger. A cost center is a department within a business to which costs can be allocated. The term includes departments which do not produce directly, but they incur costs to the business. When the manager and employees of the cost center are not accountable for the profitability and investment decisions of the business, but they are responsible for some of its costs. So this is something that is really bad. If you treat software as a cost center, which is something that do not produce the product, then your job as a business is to minimize the cost of the cost center, which is some of the reasons why you'll see businesses like reduce funding for software. Is they'll say like, oh, we need to be cheaper. Well, what's the way to be cheaper? We'll find the cost centers and reduce money. Like that's like a business strategy to reduce spending. But your company is all about software. Software is the freaking product. I know, right? Isn't it so ironic? It's one of the reasons why it's super important that any of like the board of directors, the like high level in a company needs to have representation from software. And unfortunately, the CTO is a good start, but it's not enough. We need people that are not the CTO who know are like part of software in there. The reason for that is because the CTO, and I was surprised when I learned this, the CTO is the most fired position in companies, at least in America. It's the most fired is the CTO. So if you think that you have an ally as the CTO in the C-suite, unfortunately, chances are if that CTO tries to back you up on something, they'll just be fired. And most CTOs know this extremely well. So this is the reason why they might do things like not provide you the right salary, not give you raises, not do other things, is because they're trying to save money. And they think they're saving money because they're not, because it's a cost center. We know better. We understand. We're building the product. It's kind of a thing. Anyways, this is an entire thing. I can go on about it all day. All right. Joe, you were looking to optimizing plugin stuff in NeoVim Tmux, and you looked in default layout keybinds for Tmux. Nice. Okay. Do I use Syncthing? So I was using Syncthing. I still have it like running. The problem is that I have it on the same. So I have in another profile. I was creating the Zellige layouts, and I wanted to sync them from one profile to the other, so I had access to them. And then also like sync things, some other things too, like my .zshrc and some other files. I found that I needed to be logged into both at the same time, and then like Syncthing was like just doing weird stuff. I think it works a lot better if it's computer to computer than one profile to another profile. So it's like I'm kind of not using it anymore. I have Syncthing running just because I'm lazy and haven't turned it off, but it's not really syncing anything anymore. Yeah, Joey, you went on an internship for 3 months, and most of the tech directors and managers didn't know anything about the stuff the developer's working on. Oh, this gets into another thing. You can look into your company and see how far away from software development and like how high up does the CEO know how the product works? Like not how it's developed, like not how the code works, just from a user's perspective. Does a CEO know how the product works? Like, for example, if we're talking about something like Microsoft Word, like Word, does the CEO know how to use Word? Like, think about it from that point of view. Wouldn't that be absolutely insane for the CEO not to know how their own product works? And yet, I see it all the time. And then just keep on going down. How far down from the CEO before you start getting to people who are like, oh yeah, I'm in the product all the time. I use it all the time. I think the problem, Joey, that I have with Syncthing is that I constantly open up this profile and my other profile is not open. So Syncthing then gets confused because the server is not running because I didn't open that profile up. And I'm the type of person who like logs out, like shuts down the computer regularly. So it confused it a lot. I think what I did, if I set up like a Raspberry Pi or something, and I put Syncthing on there and just left that running all the time, I think I wouldn't have any problems either. Symlink between the two directories, I probably could. I would probably have to symlink the directories as root because it's between two different profiles. Or I could symlink to somewhere else. I probably could just do that. I just got lazy and just turned off Syncthing and just manually copied them over. I don't really change those files that often, so I haven't felt that much pain with it right now. It's like, I'll probably do something like that eventually. Okay, what are we working on here? Oh yeah, so we were answering your thing about Flint, about what to do and like why. So basically all of that was to give the reason why your company's probably not really caring about you is that they're basically trying to be as cheap as possible. And if you don't feel comfortable or safe being able to go in and like tell them all of that, of like, hey, you're making me feel like less good by like allowing somebody else who's doing the exact same thing, who's hired more recently with a 35% raise, then there's only one choice that you have to get that raise, which is to leave the company and go somewhere else. Not all companies do that. Some companies will provide you the same, like actually give you that raise without even asking. Especially companies that publish their salary ranges. There's not very many of them, but they do. Government generally does that too. There's always going to be exceptions for rules like this. Government generally publishes their salary ranges and have bands, and like if they require you to be within that band. So, however, government generally also pays less well in general. So I would recommend a quiet search. Just start putting feelers out there. Just go get your networking back up again. It might take you a lot longer than a normal active search, but who knows? You might find something that gives you more than a 35% raise. But now you know, if a recruiter asks you, hey, how much are you making? Don't tell them what you're making. Tell them what you're making plus 35%. And go from there. And then maybe you'll find that thing that you want. And because the only other choice that you have really is just to accept it and wait until you are authorized for a raise, which that's going to depend upon your feeling for the company. Oh no. Why did that think that was a... Okay, that's weird. Hold on, let me paste this in. What did it think that this was a link? Hold on. This is the message. All right, so you got result to work. You're breaking it down piece by piece so you understand the syntax. Your brain has had some damage in the last couple of years. I don't know why I did a little... Oh, you know what? I like had that like catch an error because I've had some brain damage too. I had a pretty bad concussion a few years ago. So I am right there with you on brain damage. And I totally know exactly what that feels like. If I don't have like the right supplements and I'm not taking care of myself, oh man. So think of the little programming you know from your distant past. That means you think of programming through the lens of basic syntax is super important. Okay, I was wondering, I think like Togglebit and I were really confused about the piping with Bash. I think what you were doing was the T.L most likely got flagged by Twitch. Oh, okay. That's what it was. All right. So, if you're using the context of a scripting language when thinking about things like actively programming with Rust, that's how you can sort of see as like commands and then piping and other stuff. But we're in a different context, like completely different context. So maybe if you can figure out how to do the context shift, that will help out. But yeah, if it's been a long time since you programmed, there's a lot of context switching to get over. So hopefully with your brain, you're gonna be able to like sort of like figure out that thing to sort of switch back and go with it. For me, my brain damage was concussion. So lots of fish oil and lots of supplements now. And sleep. Lots of sleep. Oh, a small stroke? Oh, I'm sorry about that. Strokes scare me a lot. The idea of it. I've just like something that can like cause such a big change. So I know that there's a lot of people that do like full recovery from strokes. I have not had one. I've had family that's had them before. So good luck continuing to work through that. We all have faith in you. We all believe. And then we'll like I try to be as patient as possible when answering these questions. So feel free to continue asking them along. And then I don't know if are you in my Discord too? I know you're in Toggles. I don't see you there. If you want to join in there, feel free to join with that link. Scared the hell out of you. You're mostly recovered. You had some aphasia. Could not get the words all the time. That, yeah. Totally understandable. So we'll be like what I have educational experience and with teaching people from scratch. And so I try to always be as patient as possible when describing these things. Yeah, we'll happy to have you on board, and we'll answer questions as well as we can, and we'll keep on trying until we get it. Okay, so what are we doing? I reload the book from the API. Oh, and so now we should see that the book's name has changed in the saved book. Okay, so I want the updated book name is now going to be book.api book. I probably don't want, I want the new name to be this. So I could probably take ownership of these things. Name, unwrap that. I'm going to assert equal that the updated book name is equal to name. New name. Okay. You fail because we get a 405. That's the method not allowed because we don't have an update route for it. You have an electronics background, digital theory and Boolean algebra. You fix radios and radar with the in the USAF, and you use Linux. You know what's funny? I have dyslexia, so like I mix things up all the time. But because I spent so much time as a systems administrator working in Vim, I don't have quite as many problems like moving around. I do have some problems with Helix because it's changed like keyboard controls around, but I don't know, like working in terminal is like not like doesn't trigger quite as many of the sort of like backwards weird stuff. Every once in a while you'll see me get, have weird stuff like that, but I don't know, like just sometimes it's weird how some things are easier than others when you wouldn't think it should be from the outside. Okay, I want to go to books ID like this. Okay, so then we'll do update book based upon that. In Nevem, you use Leap, a movement plugin, and your friends can't process the movement speed. Just 3 key presses gets you anywhere. I generally, it's kind of funny. I have like you'll notice that I'm slow. I don't do like the super jumps around for a lot of things. So I'm not like the fastest when it comes to like CLI editor movements, but it seems to work well for my brain as long as I don't try to do too much with it. So I use follow, hello. I use Emacs. Emacs is fine too. I do find it funny though. Back when I was a sysadmin, I used Vim. What was it? It was one of the computers that I used. It dropped me into Emacs as the default editor, and all of us sysadmins were standing around going like, "How do we quit Emacs?" And so I went to one of the physicists who was one of our just users, and we asked him, "Hey, how do you quit out of Emacs?" And he looks at us and says, "I don't quit out of Emacs. Whenever the computer restarts, I just let it restart with it running. So I don't actually know how." I thought that was hilarious. It's like the exact same problem that people have with Vim, we have with Emacs too. So I don't know about configuring Emacs, but in general, Jowie, my favorite way of like doing any kind of configuration stuff is from scratch, as needed. So instead of like starting with here's a configuration file with like 1,000 different things in it, just figure out like I want this one thing and then go figure out how to do the configuration for that one thing. Otherwise, you're going to end up with like a billion different things in your Emacs, and it's going to be hard to know what that configuration change you did was like related to what. And then if you have to debug your configuration, you won't know where, like which plugins or anything else that you used. One of the reasons I really like Helix is how simple the configuration is. Okay, so that gives me that. So you should now be a 200. No, now you are... Whoa. Failures. Left equals right. So left, we got this entire big thing. Right. Whoa. What's this? Get all authors and their books panicked. At assertion failed, left equals right. Oh no. Hold on. I think I know what happened. Maybe? Wait. Maybe I don't know what happened. These look exactly the same, don't they? Something is different in here. Multiple books. Okay. I'm wondering if they're coming in as a different. That's it. Okay, so I have. It's not a race condition, but with get all authors in their books, the order that they're coming in is not 100% the same. So it's a flaky test. So I need to fix that. So get all authors with their books. So is it like test to do or something like that? To do? Ooh. Ignore. Okay, so I want to ignore you. Flaky test. Sometimes author like order. I'll just say flaky test. So then when I go to rewrite this, I can like double check that and what's going on. Okay, so now we have a 200 on the left when I want a 204. So I want to actually do the thing now. Which means we need to create a DB book queries. Update. We'll take in a book. We'll take in a database book, and then we'll take in a book, I guess. I can take ownership of that. Results. That. Okay. And it's 8:44. I have 1 minute to do this, which I don't have enough time for that. So we'll do another panic here. So panic. That way I know to run all this. Oh, it won't run all that. Hold on. I need to run the update function. In router book and update function. Book queries, update, pass it a reference to state.db. I guess I need the book out of here too. We'll need the path ID. I guess we'll get the JSON book here. JSON book. And the book. We'll wait. And map error. Okay, error updating book. Error like that. And then I need to return out this will be what? Status code. No server error. Response object, new internal error, message. Okay, do that. Except this needs to be a JSON. I would do result. We'll say status code if we're good, and then if we're not good, it'll be a tuple with a status code and JSON with a response object with an empty response inside of it. And this will be okay with status code empty. No content. Okay, that makes you happy. So now when I run this, we should get that panic. So you failed, and here's that panic. So perfect. Now tomorrow when we come back here, I should be able to just jump back on this. Let's see. Tomorrow I'll be back around 6 a.m. Mountain Time, and then I have to end a little tiny bit earlier because I have a work meeting a little bit sooner after I would end than normal. So I want to have time for that. So I'll probably go until like 8:30, 8:15 or so, but still have plenty of time. So I'll be back tomorrow at 6 a.m. Mountain Time to continue working on this. And we're almost done with the test here. Absolutely. Well, thank you, Scott, for hanging out and asking the questions. And I'm glad we're able to help out. So with that, have a great rest of your days, and I'll see you next time. Bye.